Hi everyone, I'm Patrolman Estrada from PNP ITMS. I'm currently taking up Masters in Information Systems in the University of the Philippines. So today I'm going to discuss about your data privacy rights. Do you know your data privacy rights? Under Republic Act number 10173, your personal data is treated almost literally in the same way as your own personal property. Thus, it should never be collected, processed, and stored by any organization without your explicit consent, unless otherwise provided by law. Information controllers usually solicit your consent through a consent form. Aside from protecting you against unfair means of personal data collection, this right also requires personal information controllers to notify you if your data have been compromised in a timely manner. As a data subject, you have the right to be informed that your personal data are being or were collected and processed. Here are the things you should consider regarding your data privacy rights. So, the first one is the right to be informed. The right to be informed is a most basic right as it empowers you as a data subject to consider other actions to protect your data privacy and assert your other privacy rights. To protect your privacy, the Philippine Data Privacy Law explicitly requires organizations to notify and furnish you the following information before they enter your personal data into any processing system, like description of the data, exact purposes for which they will be processed, basis for processing, especially when it is not based on your consent, scope and method of the personal data processing, recipients to whom your data may be disclosed, methods used for automated access by the recipient and its expected consequences for you as a data subject, identity and contact details of the personal information controller, the duration for which your data will be kept. You also have to be informed of your existence of your rights as a data subject. So, second is the right to access. So, this is your right to find out whether an organization holds any personal data about you, and if so, gain reasonable access to them. Through this right, you may also ask them to provide you with a written description of the kind of information they have about you, as well as their purposes for holding them. So, under Data Privacy Act of 2012, you have a right to obtain from an organization a copy of any information relating to you that they have on their computer database or manual filing system. It should be provided in an easy-to-access format, accompanied with a full explanation executed in plain language. So, you may demand to access the following: the contents of your personal data that were processed, the sources from which they were obtained, the names and addresses of the recipients of your data, manner by which they were processed, reasons for disclosure to recipients if there were any, information on automated systems where your data is or may be available and how it may affect you, date when your data was last accessed and modified, the identity and address of the personal information controller. And then third is the right to object. So, we must exercise our right to object. Um, you can exercise your right to object if the personal data processing involved is based on consent or on a legitimate interest. When you object or withhold your consent, the PIC should no longer process the personal data unless the processing is pursuant to a subpoena for obvious purposes like contract, employer-employee relationship, etc., or a result of a legal obligation. In case there's any change or amendment to the information previously given to you, you should be notified and given an opportunity to withhold consent. So, whenever you have the chance, you may assert your right object verbally, be it in person or via phone call, to have it formally documented. However, you must execute a written request to the organization, addressed to its data protection officer, and have it received. In the letter, mention that your request is being made in exercise of your right object under the Data Privacy Act of 2012. The DPO must act on your written request. In case you feel your requests have not been addressed satisfactorily, you may file a formal complaint before the NPC. Attach therewith your request letter to the DPO. So the fourth is the right to erasure or blocking. So, under the law, you have the right to suspend, withdraw, or order the blocking, removal, or destruction of your personal data. You can exercise this right upon your discovery and substantial proof of the following. So, your personal data is incomplete, outdated, false, or unlawfully obtained. It is being used for purposes you did not authorize. The data is no longer necessary for the purposes for which they were collected. You decided to withdraw consent, or you object to its processing and there is no overriding legal ground for its processing. The data concerns information prejudicial to the data subject unless justified by freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press, or otherwise authorized by court of law. The processing is unlawful. The personal information controller or the personal information processor violated their rights as a data subject. Then the next one is the right to damages. So you may claim compensation if you suffered damages due to inaccurate, incomplete, outdated, false, unlawfully obtained, or unauthorized use of personal data. Considering any violation of your rights and freedoms as a data subject. So, you may exercise your right to damages, write or speak to the organization which mishandled your personal information to see if you can reach an agreement and claim compensation. If you feel that your concern has not been satisfactorily addressed, you should write to the organization and inform them of your intent to take the matter to the court. Before you start court proceedings, talk to a legal advisor if you want to make a claim in court. Then, the right to file a complaint. So, if you feel that your personal information has been misused or any of your data privacy rights have been violated, you have a right to file a complaint with the NPC. So, um, mechanics for complaints, who may complain? So, under Section 3, the following can file a complaint. The National Privacy Commission on its own initiative, those who have suffered a data privacy violation or personal data breach, and persons who are personally affected by a violation of the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Then, the right to rectify. So, you have the right to dispute and have corrected any inaccuracy or error in the data personal information controller. The PIC should act on it immediately and accordingly unless the request is vexatious or unreasonable. Once corrected, the personal information controller should ensure that your access and receipt of both new and retracted information should also furnish third parties with said information and you should request it. So you may exercise your right to rectify by having a written request to the organization and then address it to its data protection officer and have it received. In the letter, mention that the request is being made in exercise of your right to object under the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Documents to support your request must be attached. The DPO must act on your written request. In case you feel your requests have not been addressed satisfactorily, you may file a formal complaint before the NPC. Attach there with your request letter to the DPO. The last one is the right to data portability. This right assures you that you remain in full control of your data. Data portability allows you to obtain and electronically move, copy, or transfer your data in a secure manner. For further use, it enables the free flow of your personal information across the internet and organizations. According to your preference, this is important, especially now that several organizations and services can reuse the same data. So, data portability allows you to manage your personal data in your private device and to transmit your data from one personal information controller to another. As such, it promotes competition that fosters better services for the public. So, in case the personal information controller concerned does not yet have an online data portability feature, you must execute a written request to the organization addressed to its data protection officer and have it received in the letter mentioned that your request is being made in exercise of your right to data portability under the Data Privacy Act of 2012. So, documents to support your request must be attached. The DPO must act on your written request in case you feel your requests have not been addressed satisfactorily. You may file a formal complaint before the NPC attached there with your request letter to the DPO.
That's all. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from this video. If you want to know more about data privacy, you may visit the National Privacy Commission's website at privacy.gov.ph.